限界ギリギリの走り、ほんのわずかに行き過ぎました。気力を感じますね。
Paddy was kind enough to drop down the Yuasa rebirth machine. I guess that's what you could call it. A lot of people are wondering, was it the original shell? It is not the original shell of the original D1 AE86. That shell was beyond savable. So if you've seen the video by now where we made kind of like a mini documentary on it, Paddy saved as much as he could from the other shell and welded it into this shell. That was the idea. So there's not a whole lot in it, but there's definitely bits to try and keep the original spirit of the car. And for anyone that's wondering, this is the rebirth of Ryota Yuasa. I hope that's how you say his name. But this was his car that he had for many years.
先ほどの練習で激しいクラッシュをしましたがどうでしょうか。さあクリップメター色を変えましたこの湯浅が。さあ切ってきた。これはいいぞ。
And he eventually turned into the D1 AE86, which you probably know as Crash King or Yuasa's Crash King.
Video here.
Car, yeah, the video is quite famous of it at like Bihaku, where every time he went down and he was drifting, all the bumpers would come off, but there was always a freshly painted bumper ready to go each time. We said we'd just give you a walk around it. So the kit is a BN Sports kit. It's probably one of the most mental kits ever made for one of these cars.
Yeah, it's quite large.
The biggest. This kit, what's mad about it is, this kit is moulded from the original kit that came in on this car. And then the guys from 86 Aero, I think they had the kit just in stock. The molds at least, to remake the kit. You've probably seen by now from our video, Paddy managed to match the colour from the door, which they still had, and the boot lid. The stickers actually came as well from matching the door, so they were able to get a lot of the colours from that. These blades, which are an extension for the BN kit, they're like these door blades, which you can see, pretty cool.
Yeah.
They go on, they actually fill that gap. They're actually off of this original car as well. Some of the parts that are off the original car, the bonnet, which is a good line bonnet which has been chopped up, and then these like cool blades have been put in. Alan Sinnott got a lot of parts off the original Bride car when it was being broke, and he was using them for his own drift car. It had Ganadors, which Alan still has, but Paddy got EC Works Group A or Wins Auto mirrors, so they're pretty cool. It's what the Ganador is probably based off of. This is the original tow hook off of Yuasa's car as well, which is cool.
Yeah, it's still all scratched.
Yeah, it hasn't been painted. But Paddy did the best he could. He did build his car for his wedding, and like the time constraints were quite tight. Him and Eddie Quirk. Eddie actually, Garage Q, you can see it on the side of it. Eddie was a massive part to playing this as well. He did all the fabrication work, did the tunnel, did the all the fab on the intercooler and stuff, did all the rust treatment that needed to be done to it, done most of the misery work underneath this car. See, that's the killer when you do fab work and stuff like that. It's all hidden then when the car gets covered in a lovely coat of paint. So you never really quite see
It's just gone.
the misery of it all. Paddy's actually a painter by trade, so he painted the car, but the lads put insane hours into this, which is nuts. And it's cool that people like Martin French or Alan Sinnott and all sorts of people all came together. Even Adrian Walsh, a lot of the original lads in Ireland that drifted all got excited about this building. They all had parts in their shed, and they all handed them in for the build to try and get it done for the wedding on time. The original car had dory meshes on it, which are what are on it now again. I think these are pretty much the same sizes that were on it.
What size are these?
I'd say the fronts are 7.5s probably, and the backs are probably 8.5s or 9s. Spoiler is also off of the original D1 car as well, and it's pretty cool. The lads I think added the extra extension onto it, or maybe they just put these pieces onto it to give it a bit more aggression.
Yeah, I was looking at that earlier trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
so
nice.
I think it's just these that they added to it. The other ones were a bit smaller. Eddie done the wheel arches, which are pretty spot on. They look amazing front and back. He also done the exhaust. Yeah, some people may notice that Yuasa's shell was early spec. Paddy, this is the only shell he could get, so he worked with what he could. And he done a good job then smoking the tails. Arguably the late spec shell I think is a much more attractive looking shell because it has the centre garnish and stuff, and it looks perfectly at home. Most people probably wouldn't even notice that, but people have pointed it out. because, it's the internet. I would definitely overlook those smaller details because of the incredible effort that was put into building this thing. I mean, it's incredible it exists again.
Yeah.
What's so cool is the lads from Drift Tengoku spotted it on Instagram, and they actually posted it in one of their Drift Tengoku magazines, talking about how the car came back from the dead. Yuasa sent Paddy his D1 license, which is insane.
So fucking cool.
And he sent him the schedule for 2002 round 3, all the groups that were going out and stuff. It's been laminated, so obviously this stuff meant a lot to Yuasa, but it was quite emotional for him when his car was being put back together. I'm sure he thought he'd never see it again. Over the progression of Yuasa, when he had this car, his original one, it started off 16 valve, then it went 20 valve, and then to get more competitive and keep up then with just D1, they went for an SR. So Paddy managed to source an SR. It wasn't cheap. Him and Eddie then did all the misery of getting it in, making engine mounts, solid engine mounts, custom subframe and stuff for this to all work. Got it all fitted up. Same then, they've put braces and stuff in there and patched up and done work on the shell. Like we're saying, there's a custom tunnel in it and stuff as well. The lads done a great job. I mean, this car was just a mad project to try and get done for Paddy's wedding, and it's insane that the lads succeeded, because when I was calling up to see it at different stages, like, it just was such a massive build. I didn't believe it was actually going to happen.
And to get it done in time, like,
Yeah.
if you didn't have a deadline, it would be like way easier. But
Yeah.
fair play to them.
Early spec Zenki grille looks quite aggressive. These are headlight blanks from probably Group D. The original just had like headlights painted black, I think, at the final form. But look how insanely massive the BM
Yeah,
bumper
it's
is.
huge,
It's just
like,
massive. The whole
it's
kit.
absolutely huge.
And this is one of the only cars, I think, that ever pulled it off properly. You know what I mean? Even only recently, Stevie Royce managed to, like, they're trying to trace and figure out all the stickers that were on the car at the time, and
Yeah.
he put them on to just fill the windscreen. But it looks so cool. I'll show you the inside. Paddy would say it's not too exciting. Like, he's trying to piece together a type of an interior for it. Our friend Jerry has the original interior out of this car in his black 86, which you've seen, the turbo one, and he's never going to let that go. I mean,
Nah, you won't.
it's a perfect piece that he managed to secure himself, and I wouldn't blame him. Paddy has tried. He managed to get 2 bride. This looks like an artist, so that's like an artist. And then there's a Zeta 2 in there. He found some red cloth material, which is here, and it looks cool. Like, Adrian Walsh donated this, which is the switch panel out of the Shinakuba yellow car, which ended up becoming the V8 car, but it still has all the original writing on it and stuff. So cool. But the car is very basic. It's just literally a drift car. Like, it doesn't have glove box, doesn't have a lot of stuff. I think Paddy's intentions is to get around to adding all that stuff to the car eventually, but for now, it was kind of just like, thrown together as quickly as it could. Obviously not like a bad job, but the lads rushed it to try and make sure they get it done for the wedding, and it's kind of sat in limbo ever since. So it's so cool, it doesn't even need all these extra bits. I mean, if you were just using this as a drift car, you wouldn't care about having anything else. And I imagine it was in a similar state when it came here, when Yuasa had fully developed it into a D1 car. The lads, pulled a shell out of a ditch, took pieces out of it, got another shell, managed to use that for colour matching and stuff. People from all over Ireland came together then to, like, supply parts for the car, and it just, a group effort project between Paddy, Eddie, doing miserable hours in the shade. Incredible. I don't know what else to say really. I just wanted to give you a kind of a closer look around it. Paddy doesn't like being on camera, so he literally left the car with us and asked me to do some talking about it. And I hope between this and the kind of mini documentary I did on calling into the lads and the build up to his wedding and stuff, hope you enjoy this, I guess, what would you call it, rebirth.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
the
rebirth.
best way. It's a rebirth of the Yuasa AE86, and it just goes to show how much this type of stuff has left an impact on all of us in Ireland. Coming in over the last 20 years, like, it's really left an imprint on us, and it goes to show how much we really appreciate this era of Japanese car culture.
Great.
I hope you enjoyed it. I would like to own this car, but it's right up my alley. Yeah.
Great.
Look at this. This is so cool, right? So Yuasa got very, very excited about the build, and he sent him all of his own team stickers. There's a little email from Yuasa, an email, an actual mail. And
Don't give his address out.
no, but he used to be a part of a team, quite famous team back in the day, called Front Row. and he gave Paddy a collection of stickers from back then, which is so cool. How cool. That's a barbecue juice box sticker. We won't.
Oh wow, cool.
But look at that. I love this. And Paddy was nice enough to give me some of those stickers as well. So,
Give me one as well, yeah.
but how cool is that? That like an Irish lad pulls a car out of a ditch, kind of puts it back together, and then a guy on the other side of the world who used to own it gets moved by it and ends up like sending Paddy all this stuff. In an ideal scenario, it'd be very cool next year to like try get a GoFundMe going or something and get Yuasa over to drive the car. How cool would that be? That's what I would like to do.
You would like to do that.
I feel like we should make a Yuasa sticker for Paddy or something, and then have just a thing where people buy it and it just goes to pain to get him over. Like, it'd be really cool.
And drive it the way.
And drive the absolute fuck, blow the kid clean off it. But yeah, just like really cool shit that I just love about car culture. This is
This is why we love it.
the more impressive side of it, that it just makes me appreciate and love what we're interested in. So yes, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. Just another little cool story and a little cool slice of the Irish car scene. Thank you and goodbye. Flip is going to demonstrate the cool push start. Cool.
Yuasa Ryota、先ほどの練習で激しいクラッシュをしましたがどうでしょうか。さあグリップメター色を変わりましたこのYuasaが。さあ切ってきた。これはいいぞ、これはいいぞ。はい。これ決めましたね。今のとにかく踊り状態。
Hello, I hope you guys all had a great Christmas, and yeah, it's a new year. I'm actually filming this in the past, so it's a bit weird, but I figured I'd just attach this onto the end of the last video that we just did. I've got some cool stuff to show you. I've been pretty sick the last week, had like a crappy chest infection, so I've just been sitting in my room of, I guess for some people, really awesome stuff. Other people probably think it's pretty embarrassing. I don't mind, but the obvious wall of magazines behind me that you guys have been asking about. Maybe I'll do an episode on that someday, but I have a lot of magazines that I've acquired over the last few years. I've got some more interesting information about Yuasa's 86, so a couple of images for people that really appreciate the car. I'm just going to give you some more bonus stuff. Excuse this, I don't have my scanner anymore. I used to have a scanner. This is just iPhone pictures from the magazine. So what's really interesting is Yuasa had his 86 for quite a few years, and it went through many iterations. So here you can see it was red. This is in a Battle magazine in like 98, I think, 99. It actually had the red bright interior back then as well, which is probably where the red bright interior thing came from, matching the inside and the outside. Well, it was originally a 16 valve 4AGE, but Yuasa had put a 20 valve in at this point, and he was still rocking the Dory meshes, which is pretty cool. You can see the interior there, you can see the seats. So the driver's seat was a Bride Bricks 1.5, and the passenger seat was a Bride Revs, which has the shorter side pieces on it for getting in and out of smaller cars. I really like the look of it there, just like tinted windows, pretty gangster, super simple, like late 90s style. Then he put the Goodline stuff on it.
2コーナーまでのラインは1本外すと後までツケは回ってくる ピードが乗らず R がきついのでブレーキングでうまく車速を殺すテクニックが必要。
Then he painted it blue. Maybe a throwback to Team Front Row because all their stuff was blue. So Yuasa was part of Team Front Row, which were a famous team in the early 90s. As I was digging through, then it looked like Yuasa was part of a team called Motor World. Or it was a group of friends. I'm not 100% sure, and I could probably do a little bit more research into it. It was painted as kind of like very, very pale, like silver with it looks like a light hue of green almost, like a really faded Millennium Jade maybe, but it's actually quite beautiful looking here. But what's really cool is the Ganadors are also on it here as well, and the Goodline bonnet, and the spoiler actually, so you're starting to see the car take shape, so it's cool to see the car progress. And in this, it's actually still 20 valve. So here he is with his mates. They all have pretty amazing 86s, this Motor World crew. I actually still have some of the magazines out. Check it out, right? So then, not too long after, Buyer's Guide Monthly Tuning Magazine, June 2001. As you can see here, but not too long after the feature that was in Battle Magazine, Yuasa then has painted the bonnet black. Now my suspicion of why the vents were put on the bonnet is because the Goodline bonnet dips down, and if you've watched from my videos, it doesn't fit properly on anything that isn't a 16 valve. So Yuasa chopped off the drop vent which is on the Goodline bonnet, and probably out of the leftovers he made the cool vents which stick up here on the bonnet. The extensions are actually on the spoiler. The SR20 has been put inside. Some people might get that old joke. That's it without the stickers. Has the interior. This is pretty cool. Yuasa and Haraguchi. And it's kind of like an article discussing their style, because they done a feature on Haraguchi's car, which is in this as well. This is like absolute gold. So Haraguchi's car there. This Buyer's Guide BG magazine actually loved Yuasa. Not too long after then, when is this? Wow, so this is just in December 2001. Full body kit on it, good road. It's got the Motor World stuff on it. It's actually the first iteration of the car with the bright graphics. It's still that kind of pale, kind of pissy colour, but it has the Ganadors, the bonnet, everything. But it's pretty much the exact same thing. They just done another feature on it with the stickers and the body kit. You can see the red interior. It's got side door bars. So that's a pull-out poster here then in Battle Magazine of Yuasa's car. More gorgeous photography from BN, October 2001. That's the first proper D1 iteration of the car. I just like showing you the stuff, showing you the, I guess like the evolution of the car while we're talking about this thing. It's kind of cool that I've had this time, because I'm sick, to just dig up the past.
そして因縁の対決、湯浅と上尾。この対決ももったいない。谷口ね。
いや、相手は上尾。相手は上尾。あ、上尾。こんな感じ。これはいいぞ。これはいい。湯浅2本目。さあ、区間タイムの方は5秒0。
The BN kit was actually developed for this car. Look at this photo here. So this is actually at the BN Sports headquarters, where the car is like literally rolled out with the first ever version of that BN kit, which is really cool that the kit was pretty much developed for Yuasa's car. Rolls out. It looks amazing. It's still in kind of that faded, kind of like silvery green colour. The iconic stickerless version of Yuasa's car in the green that we all know it as today. Smoked headlights. It's basically the final form before the stickers. It definitely caused a stir at Auto Salon. That's when like BN kind of like unveiled a lot of their iconic kits. And yeah, there it is there, naked before the stickers. Here's the juicy little bit of information that I have, which is kind of sad, but kind of, it's cool that I have these magazines and I'm able to go back and kind of reference bits of history on cars that I've been fascinated about. May 2003, and in the D Station section of Doritown, Drift Tengoku, there's a news section which shows the Bride 86 for sale on Yahoo Auctions back in 2003. So it's a screenshot of Yahoo Auctions in 2003, and it's an interview with Yuasa, the editor of Drift Tengoku, asking Yuasa what's going on. It's mad how fast time moved. Like in less than a year of the car being painted with the BN kit and being at Auto Salon and having the stickers on it, and then like all the famous Crash King videos and stuff of like 2002 and that when he was competing in D1. In April 2003 he sold the car, and that's what corresponds with the signature that's actually on the boot lid of the car. But he sold it for what looks like 611,000 yen, I think. I'm not sure how much it actually went for, but what's fascinating is he said he loved the car, which is unfortunate that he had to sell it. He sold it because he didn't have enough money to compete in D1 anymore, and it's kind of jokingly says it up at the start here that he didn't want to borrow money and he didn't have a girlfriend to borrow money from. He had to pay for fees, tires and parts, and he didn't want to borrow money, so I think he was selling the bride car. I might be wrong here, but I think he continued with a D1 and a C33 after that for a little while, and I think he sold the bride car to fund that. It is kind of sad when you think about it. Like, we see these cars and we wonder why people are selling them and stuff, but I guess Yuasa probably didn't have the finances to keep going and pursue what he wanted to do, so he had to sell the 86 to free up some cash. But it's absolutely fascinating that, like, there it is in Drift Tengoku, the Yahoo Auctions listing for it. It's crazy to know how long Yahoo Auctions people have been selling cars on. Imagine this popping up on Yahoo Auctions today on all the BN Sports twin page spreads that went on for like 10 years afterwards in all the Drift Tengokus. There it is down there. HTS Takigo dampers, which is the big red sticker on the side of the car. They used the Bride 86 heavily in their marketing campaign then for 86 suspension, which is badass. It just goes to show, like, even in Japan it was like such an iconic car for so long, and it's still to this day one of the most memorable D1 cars ever, in my opinion. I've been trying to figure out what exactly you would call this, because a lot of people have already said it in the comments and stuff like that it is not the same car, which I hope is quite obvious. It is a kind of a rebuild with parts from the original car. I kind of was looking around the internet just to see exactly what you would call this, because it's not a replica, it's not the original car. Yeah, where does it fall in the category of what you would call this? Because I keep calling it like the rebirth or reborn, which is just nonsense. So I've done a bit of digging, and I found Dennis Jenkins' definitions in his book from the Directory of Historic Racing Cars. What actually caught my eye for this was Resurrection. So some cars, when they reach the end of their life, are abandoned and dismantled. There have been numerous cases where components that still existed were gathered up to form the base of a new car, a new chassis, a new frame and body, in that from the bare bones or the ashes of the original, another one appears. It cannot claim to be the original car, and certainly not a genuine car, nor an authentic car. At best is a resurrection from the dead or from the graveyard. So I would definitely call this car a resurrection of the Bride 86, because it's using a different shell, but it has a lot of the original parts on it. So it's I guess what we can call this. It's the resurrection of Yuasa's Bride D1 AE86. And I think Dennis Jenkins' definition is pretty good. He's got an in-depth kind of explanation of each era of like race cars, because I guess these are race cars to us. This is our generation of cars that we will remember and obsess over, especially if you're into like the JDM stuff, Japanese domestic market. But just wanted to add that in there as well. What do you guys think? In the comments, it'd be interesting to know what you said about it. But I think Resurrection is a pretty good term for this car. Just the iconic final colorway of it, the green with the orange and the gold and the silver, and just the BN kit, the first ever car to bear that kit from what I can see. And I'm not sure if there was ever a proper feature of the 86 when it was green. I've never seen one anywhere. Just all the previous features. Maybe he sold the car before anyone got around to doing it, but kind of cool. Just decided to chuck all this in at the very end as a bit of a bonus for this, because I know some people kind of like to nerd out as much as I do about old 86, 86 and like just old Japanese car history from the best era, I would say. But yeah, just surrounding myself with magazines all week doing this. It's always a pleasure to make these videos. As always, guys, if you've made it this far and you've enjoyed this, I know it's not like, you know, whoa, amazing content and that, but I just thought it'd be pretty cool to tag this on to the end of the video. It's been a crazy year for me. Hopefully this year, 2023, is just as interesting. I really want to do a lot of stuff this year, and I'm just going to see what happens and really go for it. So thank you to everyone that's been along for the journey. Hopefully finish my car this year. There's so much coming on that. Like, I really don't want to reveal some of the stuff yet, but just everything. Get the shop going very soon. Everything. I have a lot of plans. Let's hope I can put them into practice. Yeah. Thank you guys. It's just a blast having you along and just appreciating all this nonsense with me. So take care. Hope you had a good Christmas and a New Year's. Let's hope 2023 is a little bit more interesting than last year. So take care, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.